Good news is we got no DJ Moore. Bad news is we still got to fade somebody, right, Tyson? At least we got a good football game coming up on Sunday Night Football, Cowboys and the Niners.
Let's do it, man. What is up, guys? Welcome to the Edge DFS. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, I'm not feeling too good today. I'm not feeling too good after the DJ Moore ass whooping we got. What are your thoughts, man? How are you feeling? That sucked. That really sucked.
Hey, man. I mean, if you're gonna be wrong, may as well be wrong. Like, it doesn't make a difference if he was going to be the optimal captain either way with 1 touchdown or 3 touchdowns. So it's just funny, right? Because we look like idiots, but at the same time, that everything could be different if that Darnell Mooney pass is complete at the very first play of the game instead of the connection to DJ Moore. But you know, we're not here to play what ifs. If my auntie had a thing between her legs, she's my uncle, right? So like, you know, it's just it is what it is.
Oh man! As soon as I saw that overthrow on Mooney, I knew it was going to be a rough night. And then the next play, DJ Moore with the long catch, I was like, "Oh shit, oh shit!" All right, we got to talk about it. That sucked. I had him in my single entry, which was always my plan. So I cashed, and I didn't do as bad as I thought I was going to do. But let's move on to Sunday night here. This is one of our shorter shows. We're doing the short shows on Sunday night here from now on, just because obviously watching a 45-minute to an hour show, you know, between 7:30 after that last game ends in the Sunday night show is not really possible. So this is going to be about a 20-minute show. We're going to kind of cruise through this and then build a bunch of lineups. So Ellie, we got Dallas going into San Francisco. 3.5 point favorites at home. San Francisco is undefeated. Cowboys lost to the Cardinals, came back pissed off and annihilated New England, got Mac Jones benched. So it feels like to me the 49ers, in my opinion, are the better team, at least a more consistent team. But Dallas has that high upside on offense, and they have that really high upside on defense. It just feels like, you know, which Dallas team are we going to get? If it's the best Dallas team, I think they can win this game. But generally speaking, I think that the 49ers are going to be able to come after Dak a little bit more so than the other way around. And I think that that's the key. If the 49ers can pick off Dak and cause some trouble for him, and if Dallas cannot, you know, convert in the red zone or on goal line opportunities, the Niners have this game. Thoughts on this matchup overall, dude? This is really two really tough defenses and two really, really good offenses.
Yeah, man. So I'm excited for this one. I do think San Francisco is probably the better team. I am curious to see what Dallas really is. I think they played down to the competition when they lost to Arizona. So I'm not going to read too much into that, right? Arizona, like, they could make their season off of just beating Dallas. Like, we don't give a shit about anything else sometimes. So it makes sense. I do think they're better than the way they performed that game. We saw it last week and pretty much every other week except for that one. So I do expect them to come out and be competitive in this game. I just think San Francisco ends up taking it. I think it's going to be a pretty close one. And one thing, I think, but Brock Purdy, he still hasn't lost a start.
Nope.
So at some point he's going to end up losing a game. But like, I don't want that to be a narrative. Like, I don't want to just say that like at some point he's going to lose a game, and that's why I'm under on him. At some point we might have to actually acknowledge like the dude knows what he's doing and can manage this offense. So look, man, I'm looking at San Francisco on this one. I still think that there's going to be a pretty decent offensive output despite the two top tier defenses we've got.
Speaking of narratives, the 49ers did send Cowboys home last year in the playoffs. Dak was asked about it this week, and he was not too happy. There's a little bit of a revenge narrative going on the Dak side of things. So, you know, something to keep an eye on, man. Any given Sunday, I would not be surprised if either of these teams won. And when we're building lineups, we're going to focus on some game scripts and how these lineups should be built in any of these situations. Real quick, I want to keep talking about this matchup a little bit more. When it comes to strength of schedule, both of these teams have the easiest schedule in the league so far. Obviously, We know that what the 49ers did against, the Steelers aren't great. The Rams are better than we thought, but you got the Giants and then you got the Cardinals. On the other side, Cowboys going against both New York teams, the Cardinals and New England. It feels like to me this is their first test. Who's going to break? Who's the stronger team? Who's the better coach team? I really do think that's the 49ers, dude. How do we plan for a game like this when both defenses are really good and you have so many damn players that you want to get in on offense? Are we going to have to play like favorites? Are we going to have to build every lineup with a game script in mind? Like, what are we doing for this matchup when it comes to building?
I think the easiest way is just to build with a game script in mind. I know we talk about that a lot, but there are other games where you can kind of just, the pricing is soft enough, you can just jam in whoever you want or whatever. On a slate like this, I mean, the first thing that I want to do when we start building is just see like where the salary forces us to go. Like, are we being forced to do 3-3s if we maximize salary? If so, then I think going 4-2s and kind of leaning towards a little bit more of an offensive explosion on one team is the way to go, right? So to your point, again, that's exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about game scripts, is what happens if say Dak Prescott isn't in the optimal, but they score 21 points. That's what CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard, or what are we doing around that? So I think that's kind of what we need to do here. And not to keep calling back to Thursday night, but like, we're not just fading people for the sake of fading people. We got to find lineups that we're comfortable with that, sometimes they're going to be missing somebody like Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk maybe, or Christian McCaffrey. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think Christian McCaffrey, he scored 13 straight games with a touchdown. I think if you had to play one player in every lineup, I think that's the obvious choice. The question is, do we play him at captain in most of our lineups? And I think we're going to mess with that here in a little bit and see if that's possible. Let's look at injuries real quick. So it looks like Elijah Mitchell will be out in this one. So that opens up a little bit of value, but this is not really the team that, if Elijah Mitchell's not playing, they're not going to feed the backup. And Elijah Mitchell barely gets fed. But we did see him get some action I think it was 2 games ago. And he did get a little more work, but he's not going to play today, so don't play him. Who else here? It looks like, obviously, we know about Trevon Diggs. They've stepped up without him. The only guy that's questionable is Damone Clark. And an interesting guy to talk about here is Peyton Hendershot being out. That opens up the door a little bit for Schoonmaker. He's dirt cheap. So keep an eye on that. We'll maybe play with him with some value. Anything else jump out to you here when it comes to injuries?
No, man, it's pretty straightforward here.
All right, so briefly, we'll get into building here. I just wanted to kind of look at these matchups here. So both offensive lines obviously pretty good. Both defensive lines pretty good. Ayuk is still the first-rated wide receiver according to PFF. Deebo dealing with a little bit of an injury. Last week, he didn't even get targeted. He got a couple rushes, but he didn't even get on the board in the box score. I thought there was a mistake, so I had to go check a couple different things. I was like, wow, he did not even get targeted. It was interesting. Obviously, we know what Kittle's ability is, and McCaffrey. But look, Stephon Gilmore, Deron Bland, dude, they've been stepping up. This is some pretty decent matchups. Like, to me, what worries me about Ayuk is it feels like they can probably shut him down the field if they really wanted to. And maybe this is an opportunity for Kittle or Deebo. They put Deebo in motion and try to get some separation and like maybe 6-7 targets to Deebo just running around free. Maybe not the deepest passes in the world. What do you see as the game plan here for the 49ers? Like, do you think they get Kittle involved a little bit more, or do you think he's staying in and doing some blocking to help out with Parsons?
Yeah, I think it's possible they keep him the block, but I don't know that they're going to need to do that. Their offensive line's pretty solid, and it seems like one of the things that they're trying to do with Purdy is get the ball out of his hand fairly quickly. So I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if we want to kind of build too heavy, expecting Micah Parsons just to destroy this offensive line. I think Trent Williams is, he's the first straight tackle in the NFL. So like stuff like that is going to be interesting, but I don't know, man. Like, this is just a weird matchup. I think one of our issues with Jimmy G in this offense was his inability to take advantage of the different offensive weapons he has. But like, we don't see that problem with Purdy. Ayuk, he's getting his stuff. What does he have? Like some stupid number. Like every reception he has this season was either a first down or a touchdown.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
bullshit, man. That's not a real stat. So, like I think all these guys are in play. I think Debo is the one that we're going to probably have to talk about the most. His lack of targets and volume last week, I'm hoping it was because of his injury. He's just priced too cheap, man. Like I'm going to lose money playing
Yes.
him.
He's priced too cheap, and imagine getting his upside and his potential volume if he's healthy at captain with that price. We're going to be able to
Yeah.
really play whoever the hell, not whoever we want, but we're going to be able to get more of the studs than we would with anybody else and with that ceiling. All right. Offensive line looks pretty good for these guys. Defensive line, we know about Bosa. I mean, look at this defense. It's just, it's scary, man. What do you think the key is here? Like, is Pollard going to be able to get any work? Like, I know they're going to get him involved. Are they going to have to use him in the pass game more? Is Ferguson a guy? I mean, he got targeted quite a bit last week. He did well. Gallups looks pretty good. We know about CeeDee Lamb. Where do you think they target their offensive firepower here in this game where it's a tough-ass matchup?
Yeah, well, I think that the thing is both these defenses are just some of the worst to play fantasy against. Dallas in particular, they're pretty much 32 against, or they're dead last in quarterbacks. Like they give up the fewest points. So I guess it's first, however you want to do the fucking ranking. And then they're really good against every other position. I think their one soft spot. So the one soft spot for the San Francisco defense is they do give up a little bit of fantasy offense to the running back position. So I think it's possible we see Tony Pollard getting involved pretty significantly in the offense. And again, like we talk about this pretty frequently too. Like if you're playing against from an excellent offense mind in Kyle Shanahan, like you want to get your run game involved. If you can keep the ball out of the offense's hands, you have a much better chance of staying in the game. So I do think that they're going to feed Tony Pollard and. Not last but not least, like I don't know if we necessarily want to reach on guys like Cooks or Gallup in this. I think this is a game that if Dallas is in it, it's because Pollard or Lamb are really getting involved. I think Lamb is the kind of got to be the guy for Dallas to stay in this. Right when you're playing elite teams, like you need your elite players to show up.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, let's get into our lineup builds. Let's do about 10 minutes of building lineups here. Let's do it. All right, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining us. Throw us a like. Comment down below who your favorite captain in this matchup is. We got the Monday night show coming out Monday morning for you guys for our members. So if you guys want to see that Monday night show every week, click down the button down below, join, and obviously join that Discord. As we get closer here, we're going to be obviously trying to dial in like our single entry builds and try to dial in some of these tournament builds in the Discord. All right, so before we do like our game script builds, let's try to find that like single entry type lineup and see how hard this is going to be to build. We're going to have to make some tough decisions here. I think that the obvious option is Christian McCaffrey. Is there any use in going down a little bit lower to try to fit in an extra stud, or is it just play Christian McCaffrey a captain? Right?
Yeah, I mean, I see, Christian McCaffrey is awesome. I don't think that this is a terrible slate to play a guy like Brandon Ayuk captain. If you want to go for the salary savings, like I think Deebo Samuel's decent as well. But like outside of that, like I think it's Christian McCaffrey and then maybe Brandon Ayuk or Deebo. But I don't know if I mean I guess you could try Tony Pollard. I just don't. I think the upside is pretty crazy with those two, right? Ayuk is if he has 2 touchdowns, he's going to be the optimal captain. McCaffrey, he needs 2 touchdowns, but that's also not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this is McCaffrey's the only guy that I know will get there. We've seen it every single game almost with this guy. Like, if you were to tell me that because of this defense on both sides, if you were to tell me that Tony Pollard had a little bit of a disappointing game, or if you said the same thing about both quarterbacks, CeeDee Lamb, Ayuk, Deebo, Kittle, it wouldn't surprise me that one of these guys kind of got shot down. So to me, I think going with Christian McCaffrey at captain is the way to go for the single entry, cashy type build. Let's see how hard this is. Now, I don't know that we're going to be able to get both quarterbacks. It's probably a smart idea to do that. We're going to have to fade one of these top end dudes. I think the guy that misses the cut for me here is Pollard. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so.
So do you want to put in both quarterbacks? They're priced really well. Like, let's look at the pricing here. In the flex, you got Pollard at 10.2K, CeeDee Lamb at 10. Prescott and Purdy are 96 and 94. That's pretty good pricing for two pretty good quarterbacks. Ayuk is at 84, and then we see Deebo Samuel at 76. That's a really tempting, man, that's a tempting price there. Kittle is at 64. That's your top end type dudes. So probably put both quarterbacks in here with the pricing, right?
Yeah, go ahead for both quarterbacks.
All right, that leaves us with 4,400. Are we getting to any defenses? Are we getting, we probably should get to a couple kickers. Look, the total is 45 in this game. You know, that's a 24-21 type game. There's going to be some field goals potentially involved. Do we want to grab our kicker now? Like, I don't know. What do you think?
Let's start with our other stud. Let's throw in one more guy from that we like and kind of just see what it does to our salary. You know what I mean?
So is that guy? I mean, I don't know that we're getting to Pollard or Lamb. So that leaves us with Purdy, McCaffrey, and another 49er here at the top end, probably because you got Deebo, you got Ayuk, and you got Kittle, all reasonably priced. So we probably got to choose from one of those guys, right?
Yeah, I mean, let's start with Ayuk just to see how that works.
He's the most expensive,
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to seriously punt here. Now, is there any value that you like? Rico Dowdle's 3K. He's probably not going to get involved that much. Tolbert had a pretty good week last week. I know it was a blowout. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to judge that. But he had 4 targets for 53 yards. You also got Turpin, who to me is always a threat, especially in a game like this where they really need to get the run game going. You could see him put in the backfield quite a bit. You could see Dowdle just not really involved because we're getting maybe 4 or 5 snaps with Turpin in the backfield. And where's his price at? He's 1,400. I know that we're talking about a cash build here, but we're trying to find some good value. I don't think there's any value for us to mess with here. Now, I did mention Eli Mitchell's out, so you got Jordan Mason here, but he just doesn't get involved as much. Like, he just doesn't. So what are we doing with value here? If not, we got to pull Ayuk out.
Yeah, I agree with you. The only person I'm probably not gonna have a bunch of him, but like I wouldn't be too opposed to having a lineup or two of Kyle Juszczyk, but not, or however you say his name, but not in a single entry.
Yeah, I like him actually at 400. I always like playing him, to be honest. So we got to pull Ayuk out, or we got to pull Purdy out. Where do we go here? This is gonna be tough.
So yeah, I think that's what we got to determine. I mean, honestly, I think we might even need to consider pulling out Dak, right? So if we're gonna go Christian McCaffrey, Purdy, and Ayuk, like I think that makes sense. I think we pull out Dak and put in CD, and then see what other. I don't know, because like we still what other Cowboy can we get if we pull out Ayuk? Like,
yeah, I mean, look, Ferguson is a decent option in this matchup. He's 5K. He got plenty of targets last week, and he's been involved every game. He just hasn't had that big game yet, that real big game. But he's 5K. He's one of these guys that I probably feel pretty comfortable playing. But is it safer to just go down to the kickers and save $600, $800? You know?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I wouldn't be opposed to going Ferguson or like Gallup and one of the kickers. But,
yeah. So let's pull out Ayuk for now. This is tough decisions to make here. Let's put in the Dallas kicker. Let's put in Aubrey. So McCaffrey, Prescott, Purdy, Aubrey, and that leaves us with. We're still kind of in this range where we really got to get two dudes like Ferguson and another kicker or a defense. You know what I mean? And I don't know that I love that. Can we play a defense in this matchup? I mean the answer is yes, but like do we play it in single entry?
I don't think so. I think these teams are disciplined enough that we're not going to have a pick 6 or a fumble recovery for 6. You're not getting 10 sacks in this game either.
All right, let's pull out McCaffrey here. Let's build with somebody else here. Try to find something better. It's going to be tough. You're going to have to make decisions. And I'm not making those yet until we get closer to lock. Who do you want to put? quarterback at captain? Like, is this a Prescott? Is this a Purdy situation, or do you want to just go straight down to Ayuk or Debo?
I kind of want to go to Ayuk, man. Let's go Ayuk, and then let's throw in McCaffrey, CD, and Purdy, and just see where we're at.
So this is a situation where you probably got to go super low. You got to go to Mason. You got to go to Tolbert, to Turpin, Juszczyk. This is obviously a tournament build here. You're probably grabbing. I mean, in this lineup, we don't have Dak, so I guess you could, if you think Turpin's going to get a little bit of work in the run game, you could go Dowdle here. Is this a Dowdle? I mean, I don't like Dowdle, but like we're stuck.
I think I might prefer Turpin if we're doing that, but we're still getting too far away from cash. All right, listen, this might be too much, but what if we try a Kittle at captain for cash?
Yeah, it's probably too much, but let's just keep building. Let's keep building as if we're just trying to build the best possible lineup and then figure out where it fits. Kittle, McCaffrey, obviously. See, we haven't even gotten to Pollard yet, which scares me.
Right.
So, do we want to fade? Like, in this situation, we're probably going Purdy in the flex. We can't really get to Prescott. I guess we got
to play Dak's the cheapest stud from Dallas.
He is. No, for real. That's why I think Dak is like kind of an important piece.
Throw him in.
So 4,800 a pop. So if we want to go super low, we could probably afford something. What are you thinking?
Gallup, Moody. I mean, Gallup, Aubrey. You got Ferguson, kicker. I think all of that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, these are definitely tournament builds. I mean, this is a Kittle, McCaffrey, Purdy, Prescott, Moody, Ferguson. This is ugly. This is real ugly. Let's build with Debo at captain. Sorry, I keep doing that. Debo at captain. Let's see what we can do here. McCaffrey. All right. What's the game script here? 49er blowout?
Yeah, that works. 49er blowout. So what, we throw in Purdy?
Like a 31-20 situation here? So Purdy.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get
31-20, that's a kicker. Yeah, Dak and kicker. You want to go there?
Oh, you want to go Dak and kicker? Cool. We can do that. 3,600.
Still puts us in reference. Oh, well, Dallas Cowboys. No, well, that's terrible if we're doing.
See, but you're right. Here's the problem: is Dak? He's the cheapest top end dude for these guys. Like, I guess you can go CD here. You could go CD, or you could go Pollard and the kicker. We could do that, Aubrey, and then that leaves us. We're gonna have to punt anyways here, so. Mason, like in a blowout situation, does Jordan Mason get the fourth quarter carries? If it's 31-17 going into the fourth quarter, maybe. But this all sucks. I don't really like any of this. So we got to make a decision here. Like, if we're doing onslaught, do we punt on one of these guys and a kicker for that team? Like, what do we do?
So listen, let's try this. Go ahead and throw Debo back at captain, and I'm not sold on cash. I think we're gonna have to keep practicing that as we get closer and update everybody in the Discord. But for GPP, I think something like this might be interesting. Let's try fading Purdy in this one. Throw in McCaffrey, go CD and Dak.
Okay. Yep, we're gonna need to do that.
And then throw in Schoonmaker or whatever his name is.
Yes.
Was he $200?
Yes, he's $200. Yeah, I like that, dude. Yep. 7K. So we can get to quite a few guys here. We probably don't want to put in Kittle here in the situation that we don't have Purdy and we have basically 3 pass catchers. So is this we basically got to go down to Brandon Cooks here?
I don't hate it. Brandon Cooks, Ferguson, Gallup.
Ferguson. You want to really utilize these tight ends: Debo, McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Prescott, Schoonmaker, Ferguson, or you could go with Brandon Cooks, Gallup, kicker, any of those. It seems to me like Debo is probably the easiest route to finding like a lineup you're comfortable with. But I don't know that I'm comfortable with Debo. I mean, at this point, I know he was banged up a little bit. and they didn't really want to use him in that game as much. But feels like to me he's a good option. Like, who are some of your favorite captains so far? And do you want to build like a Cowboys onslaught here?
Actually, I do want to try something real quick. Throw in Dak at captain, and then let's see how many Niners we can run it back with.
Okay, let's
go
ahead.
McCaffrey, Purdy, Ayuk.
Prescott, we're gonna do you want to punt on the with one more Cowboy here, or do you want to punt with a Niners guy like Juszczyk or one of these dudes?
Yeah, throw in Kyle.
All right, Kyle J, 5,600. So we can pair Prescott and Cooks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to that. I mean, you can go Cooks, Ferguson, Gallup, same situation.
Yeah.
If you want to leave it as a 5-1 or whatever, or 1-5, you got.
What if we did this? I know this is crazy, but what if we put in Schoonmaker here? And what does that leave us? I guess it leaves us the similar options here. You could do Dallas, 49ers. You could do 49ers kicker. But probably you don't even probably need to do that at this point. Let's build one more lineup. You got any fun ones you want to build before we head out?
Let's go with CD. We haven't done anything yet with him.
CD, McCaffrey. Now look, let's talk about McCaffrey. All right. Now he's probably I think he's going to be 90% owned, because why wouldn't he? He's pretty much 90% owned on every slate, like total, both like probably 25 in the captain and 65 in the flex. For the 10 lineups out of 100 that you would build without him, if you're doing that, do you want to try one without him?
Yeah,
and just see what it's like. You know what I mean?
Let's do it.
I
mean, this is the one to do it.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead.
So I think this is an interesting game script. So if we don't have him, let's go. I think we go Lamb, Pollard, and then we kind of just take advantage of the Niners pass game. Purdy, Ayuk, Kittle, or Purdy, Ayuk. I like Kittle over Samuel, but yeah.
We probably can't unless we punt here, which we can. We can go down to Kyle J, Schoonmaker, one of these dudes, Ray McLeod, one of these dudes, but probably not. Let's go lower on. Let's go below Kittle here, or Ayuk. Sorry. Is there anybody else we can get? Probably not. Like, is this a kicker situation? No, we need a pass. We need like a top end pass catcher here. Debo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's go Debo.
7,800.
Now you can do a kicker if you want to.
Which kicker do you want? San Francisco?
Yeah.
3,400. Now, the interesting thing here would be to play the 49ers defense, but you could play Cowboys defense here. It's just weird, dude. Rico Dowdle. Even without McCaffrey, let's pull Pollard out.
Yeah.
Let's put Dak in. Money. Let's put Dak in here. So CD, Dak, and then let's run it back with 4. I don't know that we can comfortably unless we kind of punt here. Let's go to Kittle. Purdy, Kittle. Are there any dudes like pass catchers? Are you liking Juwan Jennings? Like, is there any of these dudes like Ronnie Bell? I just don't know that they're going to get involved with everybody healthy, with Ayuk healthy.
Yeah, I don't think that they will. Jennings, I think, is the only person I'd be willing to take a stab on. But even at that price, like, I would probably just rather try and get to one of the kickers.
Yeah, I mean, look, we got CeeDee Lamb in the captain spot with Prescott. Then we run it back with Purdy, Kittle, Jennings, Moody. This is not an easy one to mess with, dude. And I knew it was going to happen as soon as I saw this on the schedule. I was like, man, this is going to be tough. And we don't really have any injuries that we're working with here. At least we don't have injuries to players that really move the needle for me. So what are you thinking here, man? We're going to have to make tough decisions. I think if we're already screwed with salary and we already think that we're going to have to punt in order to get some of these guys in, is it best to just say screw it and play McCaffrey at captain so you have that incredibly high floor? You know, if you're already going to be stuck playing a 10% or less player, why not just play McCaffrey, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're already going to be forced to punt, I think the salary is tight enough that you might be able to stick with McCaffrey. But you have to be comfortable playing one of those guys. This is a good slate to do it though. The $200 guy might be something that frees up. A $200 zero might be enough to free up your salary to end up with, again, like Michael Gallup as opposed to Juwan Jennings. It's not that significantly better, but it definitely is better to play Gallup than Juwan Jennings.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your final score prediction, dude?
I have 24-23 San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 24-17 San Francisco in this one. I think the defenses are going to matter a lot, and I think Dak makes a couple mistakes in this game. All right, man. We will see you guys we'll see you, the members, for Monday Night Football, and we'll see you for Thursday next week. See you guys later.